How to give her space so she misses you. She just asked for space. What does that even mean? Does she secretly want to be done with you and she's just letting you down softly? Or maybe she wants to secretly explore other options while she still has you waiting there as a safety net? And most importantly, what is the best way to give space so she misses you and comes back? In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to lay out what space means to her so you don't do the wrong thing to guarantee she never comes back. The most common mistake most men will make when their wife or girlfriend asks for space, and it instantly confirms in her mind you are not the man for her. And then an exact strategy and how to give her space in a way that closes the curiosity gap so she thinks about you more often, along with the best way to get out of your head during this time so you don't self-sabotage and leave yourself in isolation feeling regret. And finally, a process that gets her to see you in a completely new light, revealing the truth about who you are. So let's jump in. When she first brought up the conversation of separation or space, there was so much left unsaid. What does space mean? Can you still reach out to her? What if you guys live together when she said it? And how long will this space go on for? This issue is known as selection perception. What she meant by space can be completely different from what that means to you. As an example, John heard his wife say, "I need some time to think about things." It was one night after a huge fight. Now, that one sentence alone cycled through his own filters of fear and rejection and registered as follows. He thought she meant, "I'm considering leaving you, and I don't think you're good enough for me, and I haven't been happy." Her words entered into his own filter and exited laced with fear. Sometimes these selection perceptions can be unconscious, and they actually often are. Due to this process, John began to panic. He begged and said things like, couples that take space never come back. What about my brother when he divorced his wife after they wanted space? And he followed it with ideas to go see a therapist and work things out. Now this caused his wife to feel more pressure and ironically less space and therefore less emotional safety and an inevitable climb steeper towards intimacy than when he first started. It's heartbreaking to me how often the devil's game of telephone plays a role in the miscommunication about what space actually means. Because to her, it could be something completely different than what you think it means. When I was working with Ryan, he talks about this mixed language here.
I like to put it, men speak English and German and women speak French and German. And sometimes, English is our primary language, German is our secondary, and French is their primary, German is their secondary. And occasionally you both have to switch to that German to understand each other.
I mean, how true is that? We hear the same words coming out of her mouth, but us men and women, we do have communication differences. And so when she first asked for space, you need to get out of your own head, get out of your own panic, and have a position in curiosity towards what she means. Be calm and just ask a bunch of questions so you can respect those boundaries. And then you can do the next trick, which is, get her to chase after you. If you ask why, the relationship will die. Now, when there's a problem, you want to fix it, right? Analyze the issue, isolate the objection, and persuade and convince to make things right. Relationships are not within a mechanical model. They don't have parts and steps. They are organic and living things, right? They have their own energy and life force to them. Now, fixing entails black and white. Replace this one bad thing that's not working with this other thing and the mission accomplished. The relationship is not like that. It is wounded and dying. You've been suffocating her and making her not feel safe. Therefore, the solution is not to fix. Now, Jeremy approached his relationship with this mechanical model with his wife, and many men do, okay? The logical mechanical model. And his wife would say things to him like, "When you think you could just do one thing to make everything better, it makes me feel like you don't see all the pain that you've caused me. It makes me feel that you won't put in future work to make things better if you screw up again." Now, the opposite approach of this why is solved with this next issue. But I want to leave you with this, that the relationship needs constant care, love, and attention. You cannot just simply checkmark things and make her happy. Her emotions change moment by moment, so there is constant care needed to keep it alive. Give a little more than what she asked for. Check out this clip on my group call.
And they were still in the same house because they both didn't want to move out. And she was like, I'm a 1,000,000% done with you. There's never a chance, nothing at all. And he kept on fighting for months. And then he said, one night, Josh, I was like, you know what? This woman's been hitting me up our whole entire marriage, and I've never talked to her, and she's completely done. She wants to date other guys. He's like, I think it's time for me. And then he walked up to her. He's like, hey, I totally respect your decision. I want to do this. I'm going to go on a date with this woman next weekend. So I get it. Goes down on the couch. He says in the middle of the night, she wakes him up by trying to make out with him. And it's like, I want to work on this. No. It wasn't the act of dating another woman. It was the energetic. I'm not like, I want you. You know, I do. If you want to come back to me, like I would be open to us working on together, but I'm not going to force you anymore. I'm just going to try to move on, be happy myself. That's what the energy is.
You know, I'd be an idiot if I didn't tell you the honest truth about things. And every single moment, the man lets go of the need to have his wife in his life. He's like, I know it feels like a piece of me is missing, but I've now filled that piece myself. And it can look at different ways, whether he's dating another woman, whether he tells her he's letting go, whether he says, I don't want to go on this trip with you because you're still seeing another guy. Whatever the shade of gray is, the moment is all the same. The thread is all the same, which is he let her go. Okay. Now this push-pull mechanic, if you will, I'm talking about mechanical model, but like this push-pull law when it comes to attraction is also shown in this funny movie called The Tao of Steve. Let me show you.
15 minutes after us. So, all right, if you hold out for 20, she'll be chasing you for 5.
I don't know if I can hold out for that long.
Now I know they're talking specifically about sex here, but I want you to see sex as just the physical expression of a desire for closeness with the other person, right? And relationships or dating, it doesn't matter. It's a relationship. Dating phase is still a relationship. And a lot of the things that you've done in the dating stage, you stop doing for her. The embodiment of who you were, of not needing her, teasing her, pushing her away, right? You become codependent. You've tied your identity up with hers. So to combat this, whatever level of space she asks for, you have to give more. A woman's core desire is to be desired by a man that makes her feel safe. Creating the level of space in which she feels safe is key, right? Desiring her from the safe distance, right? Knowing that you want her, but not clinging onto. That is the attraction paradox we talk about and the key embodiment of the apex male. You must give her more space than she asked for. Let's give a couple examples. If she said it's okay for you to come over once a week for dinner, one night, have different plans. Or, I mean, you don't fabricate this, but like if your friends say, hey, go do this thing, but it's the one night you have to see your wife, oh well, show that you don't need to. That, yeah, I'll see you next week. If you respond to her text messages within 10 minutes or an hour, right? If you're in the middle of a meeting, I remember one time I was on a call with a guy and his wife was calling him. He says, hold on. I'm like, you're not answering the phone from your wife. Put that down right now. What are you talking about? She can wait 45 minutes while you're on the call with me, okay? And here's a really a tricky tactic here, but all right. Let's say she wants to go on a trip with you. You guys still plan this trip. You guys pay a lot of money for it, and then she wanted separation from you, or she pulled away more. Say you're not going to go on the trip because you just can't control yourself around her, and you'll want her, and you're not going to respect her space if you go on the trip with her, so you can't go. That's going to really confuse her, and like just try it out. Trust me. It's a whole frame of like I just desire you and love you so much that like, and I don't want to be around you because I want to respect your space. So sorry, I can't. Stop overthinking. You are your worst enemy in all of this, aren't you? That brilliant powerhouse machine in between your skull that's done so much good for you, that is an amazing tool. It has downsides because the only thing that can truly sabotage your chances of getting with her, the only thing that's going to stop you from being in her arms again, holding her, is you. You must realize you have full control over this. And if you lose her, it's your fault. Now, that might sting and hurt a little bit, but it should also feel liberating, because that also means you have full power to get her back. And your biggest enemy's most powerful tool to prevent that reconnection is overthinking. Sitting idle at night wondering, what is she doing? If she's thinking about you, is she with someone else right now? You must get control of these thoughts. For if you don't, if you let them run wild, you ruminate, you'll act through them and sabotage things. The best way to do this is to find flow. Find your flow state. Flow state is an optimal level of consciousness. Okay, by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who wrote a book called Flow. It is those moments when you are so engrossed into an activity that your brain can only focus on one thing. So if you are focused on the outer world of what you're doing, whether it's a sport or your job or a conversation, you are not in your head, right? And this form of consciousness is what we're looking for. It makes you in the moment, right? All pain and suffering comes from analyzing the past, trying to predict the future, okay? But being so engrossed into what you're doing that nothing else matters, it prevents that rumination, that self-destruction. Mihaly says, the best moments in our lives are not the passive, receptive, relaxing times, although such experiences can also be enjoyable if we have worked hard to attain them. The best moments usually occur when a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. Start to do things where you find flow more often. Do not rest idle. Depression cannot hit a moving target. The second way to overcome overthinking is to challenge your thoughts. I want you to take 5 minutes and just write your thoughts out, free flowing on paper. Just set a timer for 5 minutes. Literally do this. You can do this right now. Have a paper and pen and just write out every thought you have. After, what you're gonna do, you're gonna look at those thoughts and say, how many of those thoughts are productive towards getting what I want? And what thoughts that are not productive towards getting what I want, that are negative, that are self-destructive, how can I reshape them and reframe them? I talk about reframing on this channel a lot, okay? I mean, this is what coaching is. Like, if you can't afford a coach or a therapist, that's totally fine. Having self-inquiry of putting your thoughts on paper, then challenging them, trying to find a new perspective, that does promote change and growth. Do you want to know the sexiest thing you could talk to her about? What it is? It's what you're passionate about, what turns you on. I remember one day I went to a business networking event for professionals, and I caught onto the idea of emotional Wi-Fi, right? So at these events, always they ask you, what do you do, right? And you kind of go along with your spiel before you go into natural conversation. So I thought, okay, I was doing improv class as well. So the first time I'm gonna go up to a couple people, I thought to myself, the first people I'm gonna go up with, I'm going to be sad when I talk about this. And then I'm gonna try anxiety. And I was trying on these different emotions, but the same content. So I'd be like, I help men save their marriages. I'm like a therapist. And yeah, it was like probably not the best acting. I think it's actually not bad. But then I tried being passionate, which is authentic to who I am, and confident and excited about what I do. Now, do you think I got a different response from the people? Of course. And the main reason why is because most people are skating through life. They're kind of on autopilot. And that's not a bad thing, right? People work hard all day. They give their attention when they go to a networking event. They want to relax, have drinks, just socialize. But still, you see, I was the source of the good emotions. I was providing that emotional Wi-Fi. You see, your energy in a powerful apex masculine state should be like a powerful Wi-Fi router with all the bars fully charged. And if we look at this chart right here, you could see that Dr. Hawkins he mapped out levels of emotions and how powerful they are, down to the frequency and hertz that they have. And you could see things like shame, being a bad person, or guilt, you've done a bad thing, or apathy, which is depression, or fear, which is anxiety, then lust, anger, pride, courage. It goes all the way up to love, peace, joy, and acceptance, and of course, enlightenment. And as human beings, we are drawn to these higher level emotions. And look, if you're honest with yourself, the disconnect started more and more as stress began to enter into your life. For a lot of couples, it's the first and second kid, or changing of jobs, or death in the family, or the guy got depressed, or the wife got anxious, or whatever it is. These things in life lower your emotional Wi-Fi. And if you're the router and she's the device, she's gonna have less connection to you. But if you amplify your emotions, you have a stronger, powerful signal, she'll feel more connected, right? There'll be that interconnectivity because of the positive emotions that you have. So the question is, what is the best way to increase your emotional Wi-Fi? Right, that connectivity, that positive emotions within yourself. There's so many ways. The best way is to reduce the things that are holding you down. If you were to look at that chart again, I want you to imagine that naturally human beings are full of love and light, okay? But trauma and past negative experiences are like weights holding us down. And the ability to become more confident again, to break free towards love and compassion and confidence and happiness and excitement and joy. It's about removing that trauma, by cutting it off. Now, I have a whole process that I help men do with this all the time that releases that trauma. We have expert coaches who specialize on IFS and trauma work, okay? Now, of course, therapists also do this, so you can look for your therapist, but I want you to know that this, for me, man, your state influences everything you do in the world. Imagine when you wake up and you have like 5 hours of sleep. Don't be one of those guys that say you can do 5 hours of sleep versus like a full rested day, everything's going right in your life. You can conquer the obstacles of life. But when you're beaten down, you're feeling hopeless, that energy gets projected onto everyone in your life, not just your wife. And she wants you to pull her out of her negativity. And how can you do that when you're low? You see, this is not something I talk a lot about on this channel, but I'm ranting on it because of just how important it is. And I want you to take action on this. We have so many clients, once they grasp this concept of releasing the shame and the limiting beliefs and the stories they tell themselves that they're not good enough, they start going towards what they want, as opposed to focusing on the fear. You see, because your mind can only focus and get what it wants and what it don't want. I'll say that again. Your mind, yourself, you only get two things in life, what you want and what you don't want, because they both share your thoughts. But if you have the ability to raise up that emotional Wi-Fi, you can consciously choose what you want more consistently and then therefore achieve that. Okay, if you need help, set up a call with our team down below. It's a free call, but make sure you're fully committed to it because we don't take everyone on the application. Thanks for watching. Watch this video on test right here. It's one of my favorite videos on the whole entire channel. It's very powerful. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.